My name is Stephen Lyford, and you've tuned in to a new episode of Migraine International Patient's Perspective. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about inconsistencies. And what do I mean by inconsistencies? Well, as migraine sufferers, one of the most important things we can do as migraine sufferers is keep our lives as consistent as possible. So, what do I mean by that? Um, as migraine sufferers, anything that gets out of whack for us can be a trigger for our migraines. And some of the simplest things we can do to combat our migraines is be consistent with things like what time do we take our medications. So, whether it be migraine medications or other regular routine medications like your diabetes medication or your blood pressure medications or any other medications that you take, if you don't take them at a consistent time, they not only affect the other conditions you take, but they can trigger headaches. So, if your blood pressure is out of whack, that can cause you to get a headache, which can, a regular headache can trigger a migraine. Um, so, and it's without saying that if you have migraine medication, if it's not taken on time, that you're risking a migraine as well. The other things that we're talking about are what time do you go to bed and what time do you get up? How can that make a difference? It can make a big difference. If you sleep too much, it can cause you to have like a sleep hangover, and it can definitely cause you to have migraine headaches or like a sleep hangover. The other thing it does, it gets you out of your routine. It gets you out of what time you take your morning medications, what time you eat, and things like that. And that's on the next thing on the list as well. You should have your meals at the same time every day. Now, sometimes that's difficult if you have, work routines and stuff like that, and things change at work. If you have a job that you move around a lot, whether you're in sales or things like that, but you have to do what you can to try to be consistent, because if you go from fasting to eating and fasting to eating, and it's not on a consistent basis, then those things can trigger migraine headaches. Along with eating, it's not good for people with our condition, migraines, to not have a consistent amount of water. We should stay hydrated. Now, whether I'm in my vehicle or at home, I always have a water bottle. Now, if I don't have a portable water bottle like this, I always have some bottled water in my vehicle. I carry a cooler, and if I don't have my water bottle with me, I have bottled water, and I try to drink as much as I can. Now, if I get out of my routine, it's a bad thing for me, and quite frankly, I have had a lot of stress lately, and it has come back to bite me. And somebody like me that has even though I run a migraine support group with 1,300 and some odd members, I'm just as bad as the rest of you promise me. I promise you. And my wife gets on me about it. And I get out of the routine, and she says, but you didn't drink your water, you didn't take your medicine. And, the next thing I know, I'm on the couch with an ice pack, and, she's getting me the over-counter medication that I shouldn't be taking anyway. because my head's blown up, and you know how it goes. So, uh, so we need to have routines. We need to establish those routines. And the thing about the routines is if we get out of them and we need that rescue medication that we shouldn't be taking, we end up with medication overuse headaches. And the doctors that are giving us these expensive medications to stop the headaches in the first place, they're not going to be happy that we're taking things like Tylenol and Excedrin and things, because they're giving us Emgality and Aimovig and Ajovy to prevent us from using over-the-counter medications. And then we also fall back on things like caffeine to try to crutch us through those headaches, to try to help us relieve those headaches. So some of us use caffeine to fight off those headaches. So that's not good either. They're going to scream at us for doing that. But some of us are just trying to get through the headache. But that's not anything either. So if we would be consistent, maybe we wouldn't have that headache in the first place. So what is a migraine? And help us understand it. A migraine, by definition, is an overactivation of the nerves or the neural net in our brain to stimuli. So it's like it's a net of nerves, and it gets overactive, and our brains detect that overactivity as pain. And what's it overacting to? It's overacting to light and sound. It's overacting to smells, heat, cold, chemicals like caffeine or medication. It's overacting to stress. It's overacting to exertion, changes in blood pressure, blood sugar. It's overacting to barometric pressure, and other things. Any chemical changes in our body can cause this, and it's different for each one of us. Okay, so things like the Migraine Buddy app help us to figure out exactly what it is that's causing our particular migraines, because we're all different. Okay, so to help us figure out what it is that's causing our individual migraines, we have to have consistency so that we can narrow down what it is that triggers our particular migraines. So I implore you to try your best to be consistent. Try to get up at the same time every day. Try to go to bed at the same time every night. Get 7 hours, 8 hours of rest every night. If you're not somebody that does that, if you can get 6 hours of sleep every night, get that. Go to bed at the same time. Get up at the same time. Get a consistent amount of rest. And then start at the same time every day. Get up at the same time. Establish a routine. Get up and have breakfast. Have something. Get up, and if you're a diabetic, check your blood sugar. Have something to eat. Get your day going. Take your medication on time at the same time every day. If you have to get your smartphone out and set your alarm to take your medications, do that. And then set your routine. And you're going to have a lot better, consistent control over your migraines if you do that. So make sure that you tune in to the next episode of Migraine International Patients Perspective. And my name is Stephan Lyford. Be sure you like and subscribe to this video so that you get the notifications for it. We try to do about one per week, but I've had my own personal issues and have been a little lax the last few weeks, but I'm going to try to get back on track. That's what this video is about, getting back on track. So thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode of Migraine International Patient's Perspective.